Welcome back to the Sales Genius Podcast and the War Games Group. I'm your host, Joe Ingram. Today, we are joined by Andrea Merrill, a leading speaker monetization strategist. That's just a lot of words for me to say. She's the lady that can show you how to make money from your expertise. She's also a fractional CMO and the CEO of Virtually Adventurous, which just makes it difficult to spell, but we can still say it. So Virtually Adventurous. Andrea has spent over 20 years at the forefront of online marketing, helping speakers and industry leaders turn their expertise into revenue generating assets. And really, isn't that what we're out here to do, right? The more money you make, the more people you can help, and it just keeps going. Okay, so she crafts strategies and resonate with audiences and drive meaningful action. In this episode, which is Monetizing Your Expertise, strategies for speakers and thought leaders, she's going to share her proven methods, some of them, not all of them, because that wouldn't make any sense for revenue generation, right? So she's going to share those for maximizing your impact, building your brand, and creating a legacy. So let's get ready to learn from one of the best in the business. Let's go ahead and kick ourselves off.
Welcome to War Games, hosted by the sales genius Joe Ingram. If you're looking to win the sales battle, then you have joined the right team. In the War Games group, we devise strategies for sales, marketing, branding, mindset, and attitude. We enlist the assistance from the most successful producers across all industries. We then share their knowledge and techniques with you. Our single goal is to get you ready for your next sales opportunity. When it comes to crossing the minefield of sales, step in the footprints of those that have crossed before you. Now, prepare yourself for boot camp and beyond. It's time for the War Games to begin.
Are we playing games?
Hey, War Gamers, welcome back. Adding the VIPs to the stage. Of course, Mrs. Ingram. Netta Ingram is here. Jessica Kersey and Coach Dan Gordon are here. Hello, all of you. Thanks for joining us today. So I do know Jessica has to bounce a little early, so let's not get upset, okay, if she has to leave. And everybody goes,
Thank you, Joe.
Andrea, welcome. Andrea Merrill, our guest trainer of the day and the lady who knows how to make money off your expertise. I'm going to interrupt everything right now and go opposite what I just told her to expect, because what? I went and did a virtual summit. And I was talking the two last people on there. One was me. Okay. So I was second to last. Who was last? Andrea. She was last. So poor thing had to follow me. Right. Which, I mean, come on. But she killed it. So we talked while we were going back and presenting, going back and forth, and clicked, hit it off. And so I've done her show already. She's done mine. She was gracious enough to jump in. I was like, hey, cancellation this week. Can you do it? And this was on Monday. And she's like, just put it in. I'm there. So Andrea, welcome.
Thank you so much, Joe. I am so excited to be here. And
switch with me because you're the one we want. There we go. Right.
Thank you so much for having me, Joe. You are, I'm going to say it again. You're a badass. Like, this is, when I think of Joe, Joe equals badassery. Like,
Yes.
It's amazing. He's so good at what he does. So I'm really excited that you have me here. And I am one that's cancellation. Count me in, because I will show up. And why is that? Because there's an importance to being seen. I was actually talking to a friend today of Joe's that he introduced me to, and I didn't realize that you're an introvert, and so am I. And just because we are an introvert or an extrovert doesn't mean that we can't show up. And showing up and being seen is the most important thing that you can do when it comes to monetization. So monetization is absolutely crucial as a speaker and being a thought leader. It's we pour our heart and souls into what we do when we speak and really showcasing our knowledge. But we spend years developing our expertise, honing in on our message, and even perfecting that delivery. But here's the thing, being an expert and delivery and having an amazing speech, guys, isn't enough. It is just not enough. If you're not getting paid to do what you are doing, then honestly, you're leaving money on the table. And not only that is, I'm going to say it, you're doing a huge disservice to the people in the audience that have chosen to pay money and show up and listen to you. So by you not actually monetizing and offering them anything, it's like, I feel like a big slap in the face. And it's like, hey, listen to me talk for 15 minutes to an hour, but now I'm not going to give you any value and other ways that you can continue to learn and really hone in on their expertise. Because at the end of the day, guys, they're not just here to listen to you speak. They're here to learn, they're here to grow, and they're here to lead the way and become the next industry leader in their space. So it's really important, by you monetizing, you are increasing your revenue. And by increasing your revenue, you're increasing your impact. And by increasing that impact, you're increasing more opportunities. As Joe had stated, that I stayed on, I came on early. I was so excited to listen to Joe. I didn't know what he was going to talk about, but I made an immediate connection with him because of his presentation, the way that he showcased himself. And also, he wasn't a gatekeeper to his knowledge. And I love that he wasn't gatekeeping, and he gave a way for us to connect with him. And here I am. Here's an opportunity to be able to speak. So it shows that when you get out there, out of your own way and out of your own comfort zone, then you are able to truly grow, hone in, and monetize. So I think that that is really important to remember. I'm not only, do you want to chime in?
So yeah, what I was going to say is I don't want Dan to be upset with the badassery, because that's like his slogan of, creating badass entrepreneurs, and his mastermind group is all about the badass thing. So I did text her ahead of time and say mention it several times, but I did that just so I can apologize to you, Dan.
No, that's I don't live in a world of scarcity, but thank you. I appreciate it. I open badassery to anybody, but I do have a question for you, Andrea.
Yeah, go for it.
Because I love what you're talking about. Agree with you 100%. What is an easy way for a speaker to start monetizing immediately that they overlook that they aren't currently doing?
A freebie.
Would you say a little more about that?
Yes. So
No, that's fine. That's enough. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. A lot of people tend to, because they're a speaker and they're a professional, I tend to work with professional speakers. They also have a profession on the side. They have no idea that freebies are out there, and that's a way to hone in and start getting an email list. So the easiest way to be able to start honing in and showcasing your expertise is by having a really juicy freebie. And the way that I like to explain freebies is, when you get invited over for dinner and you're like, oh, I'm going to choose not to eat like all day so I can show up really ravagely hungry so I can eat all the food there. We show up and I'm now really hungry and I'm waiting, and they now come out with like a charcuterie board, and it's like, oh, yummy. Like, I have snacks that I can eat on. This is a freebie. It's a quick win. It's something to get people in the door. And also, it's not long. It's just something that shows your expertise and helps them grow. And then this shows your authority and your credibility. And then you now own that email list. And now you have a way to start selling to people.
So the freebies need to be behind the capture and email.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
that recommended? Okay.
Oh yeah,
Right.
I would highly recommend this. Then we have too many people that have way too many freebies. We don't need to be having way too many freebies either. We really need to hone in on a really solid foundation of a freebie where you can showcase that expertise. But I would always say have it behind behind something, behind a form. Use Flowdesk, use MailerLite, use anything that you can, but grab and capture that email list. Why? Because we own our email list and we own our website. So we don't own social media.
What's a good
Fantastic. She didn't
kind
say
of freebie?
Jotform, Dan.
Yeah, that's my thing. What's a good kind of freebie?
What's a good kind of freebie? You know what? Quizzes are really fun. Have you done a quiz?
No, is that the first question on your quiz?
Oh, that's a good question. You know what? For me, it would make sense for what I'm doing if people wanted to understand what are great freebies. So I think anything that is very intellectually helpful to them. PDFs, gone are the days that people want PDFs. They want ways to be able to learn and showcase your knowledge. So I always say, for me, I have my 50K email swipe files. It's what landed my clients $50,000 in a weekend. These are literally swipe files of exactly what they can do to build out their first funnel so that they can also land $50,000, anywhere in between, right? The point is monetizing and making money. And I'm gifting that to them. Along the lines, I'm also showcasing how they can use AI to create and really perfect these email files. So anyway, and again, I'm not gatekeeping. This could definitely be a paid product, guys. I could absolutely charge for this. But again, do I want to be a gatekeeper, or do I want to show people how amazing I am and my expertise and what I help my clients achieve? And I want them to achieve the same without giving me money for it. So now I'm able to step into that higher level of authority and credibility by presenting that amazing freebie to them, because I've chosen to be like, you know what? Yes, I could get paid for this. Awesome. But at the end of the day, what do I really want? And for me, I wanted credibility and authority.
And truthfully, if you're giving away something you could get paid for, right? That's the
Yep.
law of reciprocity.
Yep.
So I'm
it is.
giving you something of value. You give me your email address, even if it is your spam email. We know people have those, right?
Yes,
But
they do.
I would still want to get that on there. So Krista Pepper is joining us.
Yay!
So you're giving them. So I wrote this down just based on what you were saying. It fed to me. It was like, give them something to chew on.
Yeah.
Right? Don't give them the whole meal,
No.
but give it to them to chew on, something
Yeah.
that they can actually take, go bite-sized pieces that they can then see the value from you. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
All right.
absolutely. Like you could do AI prompts, just thinking about that. You can do, if you have Canva templates, look at what you already have. Don't recreate. Look at what you already have, because we're such creators. We're constantly creating new things, thinking that we need a new thing to bring people in when we really don't. And also pull your audience, pull them on social media, bring them into that. For instance, my podcast, I pulled my audience multiple times. And now when I bring up my podcast name and I'm around people that were a part of that poll, they're like, oh, I was a part of that. Like I literally was a part of that process. And now you're taking them down that journey, which has them more invested in you.
Fantastic. So now your marketing approach is deeply rooted in psychology.
Yeah.
Okay. So how does this foundation that you have influence how you will craft strategies for speakers and thought leaders, right? Particularly when they say, let's monetize their expertise. So
Yeah, absolutely. Where I really focus on is the ecosystem of a speaker. I'm not focusing so much on their talk. Obviously, we'll talk about that because I don't want somebody getting up on stage talking about themselves for 30 minutes. That's not going to take anybody anywhere. But
No.
if we are practicing with purpose, right? We need that purpose-driven conversation that's going to have that stage presence that's going to captivate them and pull them in. Another part of the psychology is taking them through their body language, right? We got to think about body language, both verbal, nonverbal, and thinking about that as well when they are on stage, whether that's in person or online. And then the biggest piece here is storytelling. Whether that is online or in person, we need to be storytelling. We need to be taking them on a guided tour of the things that they need to learn and then honing in on that as well. And the way that I go into every single client, it's always the same, right? Like I'm looking at their offer and pricing, I'm looking at their freebie, I'm then looking at, and I go backwards. So a lot of people don't start this way. And then I'm looking at what does their funnel look like? What, or do they even have one? Most people don't even have one. And then what is that stage presence and how are they selling on stage that isn't salesy? It takes, again, that storytelling to be able to guide them in and bringing them on a journey. And then again, this is a rinse and repeat, repeatable process. But what goes into it differently is everybody's audience is different. And we need to look at who is in your audience and how are we driving them? What profession are they in? I work with somebody that works specifically with financial advisors. Well, financial advisors is going to be very different than somebody that's going up talking about insurance. You're going to have different analytical brains that are in the audience. So how are we speaking to them to help monetize and get them on your email list and get them sold to?
So, Andrew, when you were talking about storytelling, what's a good way to build storytelling into a presentation?
Yeah, we're getting rid of the fluff. How many of you guys heard the fluff? I mean, a lot of people add a lot of fluff in there. Our brains, they make more sense when we are not talking about fluff. It's meant for us to really bring in that authenticity that we really need to have. And I know authenticity has been thrown around a lot, but people don't show up the way that they show up in their everyday life, right? Like you need to show up as this is your everyday life. Because imagine if I was to come on here and show up one way, and then I meet Joe and we're talking on another time, and it's like, wait, who did I just hear? Who is this? Then you've lost that trust. You've lost that credibility. So adding storytelling in means that you're removing the fluff, you're being authentic, and you are really walking them through compelling stories that connect with their audience on a deeper level. So think of things that you have went through. For instance, I was on a call yesterday and I told her about how I almost died pregnant with my 5th child, and that's how my business started. She immediately leaned in and she's like, if you would have talked to me, and this was like a sales call, if you would have talked to me about, oh, I just started my business and things are amazing and awesome. She's like, I would have never have believed you and I wouldn't have worked with you. And because I told her about my story in a very quick, non-fluff way, it drew her in, and now we will be working and collaborating together. So that's the difference between storytelling and not storytelling.
I have a question to kind of build on that, because I've been looking into storytelling and communication and how to present a message. And one piece of advice that kind of circles around is that you have to tell your story in the positive. So you have to use positive words and just keep it all positive. Where I was struggling with that because I'm like, that's great, but it's not real. So what would you say about the positive versus negative language in storytelling?
I think it's important to have both. And the reason that I say both is because it's not always a positive experience. And people are not going to believe you if you are saying that everything is positive. Oh my gosh, everything's awesome. And I went through this amazing experience. And guess what? I almost died pregnant with my 5th child. And I went through all these crazy things, right? Like nobody wants to fucking hear it.
Sunshine and rainbows. That's all I heard.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yep.
That is not captivating. That is not lean in moments. That is not going to take somebody from cold to sold. When you can talk about your scars in a way that's like, hey, yeah, this really fucking sucked, but I grew from it and this is where I'm at. And that's what people want to hear. They don't want to hear you booing and ahooing. I believe that that is true, but we need to really talk about what we've been through in a positive and in a negative way, because that's going to captivate and draw your people in. So think about using a positive, a negative, a positive. So you can always do it that way. Or if you want to do a positive, a negative, and a negative and end on a positive, that's always a good way of doing it as well too. Great question. I really like that.
Do you remember who I'm talking about?
No. So I got a question here, right? So
Yeah.
you're helping people reach more money. So let's just say I have a level of expertise, right? But I've never gone out to share it with anybody. Do you have like the first 2-3 steps maybe that you'd say, go do this, go do this, go do this? Because I believe we all get thrown into it, right? And go, oh yeah, I'm doing this. Somebody goes, oh, that was really great. You should, go make a video. You should go do this. You should go talk on the stage to go do that. It all seems so haphazard and thrown out there. How do you go into it with intention? Right. And you being someone who puts people through the process, I think would be better to go, hey, here's ABC of the total alphabet.
Yeah, I really want you to think about what your message actually is. There's lots of people that tell you, oh my God, your story was so good. But how many stories do we have as speakers? We have a boatload of them, and we have lots of things that we can talk about. And just because one person says to go out and talk about it doesn't mean you have to go out and talk about that. So yes, it's great. We feel awesome. Thanks for saying that. But what I say is really look at, what is it that you want to be known for? What authority do you want in this place? What mark do you want to make? Because that is what you're going to be known for. What I started talking about 6 years ago was that I almost died pregnant with my 5th child. I went through foreclosure. I landed $12,500 in my first 7 days of business. People lean in. That is my story. And I really feel drawn to that story. And the fact that I feel drawn to it means that other people are going to feel drawn to it as well. So really thinking about, what is the story that I want to put out there that I want to be known for in the long run, not just in the short run, because speaking, I believe, is a long form art. It's not just, hey, we're going to get up and do this and then we're done. The next thing that I really want you to do is have a speaker ecosystem. If you're going to speak, have at least a freebie and your first funnel. And the way that I like to say funnels are, they're just a sexy term for saying, here's my customer journey. We're taking people down a line of getting to know you, getting to know what you offer, and giving them the offer. It doesn't need to be that difficult and challenging, because as soon as you start getting on stage, what I have come across every single time, again and again, is you're not ready to be on stage because you're now not captivating and you're not grabbing and honing in on those. And again, like I said, you're doing a disservice to your audience. The next thing that I would say is practice, practice, practice. And this, I know a lot of people don't like to do, but I like to just pull out my phone or record on Zoom. And I like to practice because you will go through a lot of emotions that will come up and formulate. And you don't want to feel when you're ready to speak that you're a deer in the headlights and you haven't done it. And the last bit of advice is fuck it up and figure it out. Just do it. Don't hold
I don't know
back.
if you can see how it all resonated with everybody on the show here, going, oh yeah, and we're all sitting back going, actually we've done that. Yeah.
Yes.
So you've been there, done that. Yeah. I put out the stuff you shouldn't put out and leave it there.
Yeah.
So okay, so I have a question more so. If I go to virtuallyadventurous.com, it's been scrolling across the bottom of the page, right? It's in the show notes and everything. If you go there, what is it they expect to find when they get there?
Oh, you are going to find a treasure trove of ways that you can grow and monetize as a speaker. So head on over to, I'm calling it now my diary of secrets for my 7-figure plus earners in speaking, because I want to get you there. And whether you're a 7-figure speaker or not, guys, this is for you, because if you want to be there, then you need to be reading it. And then you can also grab my 50K email swipe files that I had talked about earlier that landed my clients $50,000 in a weekend.
So for all of us that are on here that are, I'd say just about every one of us are more introverted and ADHD as we go through, because that's how we end up finding each other as we can do this. But literally on her page says, I helped scatterbrained speakers become the go-to experts while making a shit ton of money on and off stage. Guys, I mean, what more of a mic drop do you need at that point in time? Right? I would be clicking over there, drop in. I've already got the swipe files. It pops up and asks you, do you want to get them? And again, what does she charge you? An email. Come on, people. Come on. Right? I will warn you, that's just her getting you into her ecosystem. Oh no. Oh no. You would actually find someone that you know, like, and trust to learn from, and maybe you'd pay them. Wow, what a horrible experience that sounds like. Or does it sound like the way the world works, right?
Yes.
So, fantastic. Any questions for the rest of the speakers I have on the screen here?
Yeah,
So Kristen,
Andrew,
you jumped in. Netta, you have a question?
I do. So I was
Okay.
thinking, what if I'm not a speaker, but I'm a leader and I have meetings and I have to speak in front of staff? Would this help me? Would this teach me how to speak? I don't want to be a speaker, but I want to lead my team and I want to be able to have a meeting where I could intelligently speak to them.
I am like cheering you on because I am so excited that you asked this question. So many people think that you're a speaker when you are on a stage. You are a speaker the moment that you start talking to clients. I'm speaking right now. It's a podcast. I'm a speaker. I'm a speaker earlier when I was talking to a client. I'm a speaker when I'm in front of a team. I am a speaker when I use my voice. So absolutely, this will 120, 1,000% help you grow, because communication is speaking, and it's also a way to up level and become a better part of you. I have never felt more like myself until I started using my voice. So it is time to stop playing small and use your voice wherever you are, because you are a speaker in my book.
Boom. Mic drop again. Dan,
Yeah, that was a really great question.
Yeah.
So obviously this has never happened to me, but I'm sure that some speakers have gotten on stage and just sort of gotten lost, right? Yes, it's happened.
Yeah, I read about that too, Dan. Never happened to me.
Yes.
Personally. Yeah.
And so what's a suggestion that you have, right? Someone gets on stage, they just know that they're not connecting with the audience. What do they do?
I think it's time to search deeply. So there are people that will get on and black out and they have no idea what's going on. And it takes them a few moments to get back to that. I highly suggest finding that one person in the room and talking to them. I think it is so important to just find that one person, connect with them deeply, instead of being like, oh my gosh, who do I look at? I have no idea what I'm doing. I feel like a deer in the headlights. Look at that one person. And then as you are visually looking around, always come back to that one person. And that will help your brain recalibrate and really get back into the conversation that you're having. And then also, I think it's really important that we don't put too much pressure on ourselves as speakers and being okay to pivot. And so many people are so afraid to pivot. I spoke on stage in Vegas and I did not practice. I did not have anything to go off of. I was like, oh shit, what am I going to talk to them about? And then I had to remember, I know my stuff. And I want my audience to be deeply engaged with the conversation that I'm having. And not only am I the expert in the room, but so are they. And we often think that we're the only experts. So when I was speaking, I was actually asking questions and having the audience interact. And that was a good form for me, because afterwards they were like, oh my God, you killed it. Bunch of people came up, wanted pictures with me. They had no idea that I did not prepare for this and that I was freaking out the night before in Vegas. Like, my family's like, let's go walk the strip. I'm like, no, I can't. I got to figure out what I'm talking about. And then I remembered, but I know what I'm talking about. So remember and bring that confidence back in.
Love it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So I'm going to move us all around. Look at this. We're all Brady Bunching it, kind of. All right. So now my question to you is, what's the number one mistake that somebody is making out there today that you would say, if I could just grab you, shake you, and smack you in the head, right? Lovingly, of course, right? To stop you from doing this. This is what you have to stop.
Not selling on stage. Like, hands down, they feel salesy. They feel like people aren't going to buy from them. Like, whatever excuse, I hear so many excuses, guys. I'm going to call them excuses. I'm going to call them the way I see them. And I firmly believe that you can sell from stage 110%, guiding them through having a really good conversation. I gained 3 clients from Vegas and I had no idea what I was doing. And I sold from stage in a non-salesy way. And not only that, is everybody in that room got on my sales pipeline. So please sell from stage, even if it's a book, which is powerful and has a lot of credibility and authority. So make sure you use it.
No, I like that. Me, I always use the show me your phone, right? So I say, show me your phone. Now open up your phone's web browser, go to joescontact.com, go there, show me what you see. And then they pick it up, they look at it, and it says exchange contact. I never ask them. I just go hit save to phone, and now I'll be in your phone whenever you need that guy that thought he was so good he'd be a genius, right? And then they go, oh, yeah, that's fine. And then bing, 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 bing. I get all these people exchanging their contact with me. And again, I'd love a text phone number versus an email any chance. So.
Amazing. And if you're in person and you're doing that, make sure you walk up to the speaker, take a picture with them, and send it on that text message, because now you have created that connection with them and they're going to remember you and remember that conversation and want to talk further with you.
Like it. Love it. Love it. Love it. See, she knows her stuff. I told you. Krista wasn't sure. So, okay. Any final questions from my people that are on the screen with us?
I guess one question, this is also something personal for me, selfishly asking.
Always.
So I love Netta's question about what if you're not like a speaker on stage, because for me, I didn't identify as a speaker at all, even though I lead a lot of corporate meetings. I'm a project manager by day. And then I also have my podcast. but I have been looking into wanting to go on stage. So, what would be your suggestion for those who are like in my same situation? They speak and they're day to day, every single day, but they want to transition over to speaking on stages.
Yeah, I think it's time to, and the lowest hanging fruit is jump into Facebook groups, be a guest on Facebook group. They literally all day long have amazing opportunities to be on there. So please get into that Facebook group. And there is so much opportunity in Facebook groups that you can really hone in and start speaking in there. And you are a speaker. Hello.
Hello. You have headphones. What does that tell you?
Yeah.
Come on. Come on.
Oh, this is awesome. Thank you.
You're
All
so
right, perfect. I'm going to summarize right now. What I got was you got to develop your freebie. Okay. And if it's something you would sell for, think about it. That becomes worth your email. Right. So don't just go up and go, look, I have a picture of me at the zoo. Here, download it. Yeah, that's not going to get somebody for that. But think of the freebie as something to chew on. It's the appetizer. It's the thing that makes you say, wow, if this is quality, it would only be better if I got a full meal. Okay. Only because I can't say charcuterie, whatever board
charcuterie
that
board.
Andrea said, whatever she said with that one. Yes. The little pile of meats and cheese, right? And so poll your audience, right? Find out what they're looking for so you can do that. Don't be afraid to quote Ross from Friends. Pivot. Okay. We don't want to do that. Don't be afraid of it, right? Storytelling is get rid of the fluff. I love that because the thought process on storytelling is how many adjectives can I add to it, right? To go through to try to invoke an emotion, where if you cut it down to the basics, you allow them to experience the emotion themselves. Yeah, I got all that just from what you said, right? So quick and
Wow.
non-fluff kind of stuff. And you are a speaker. Stop taking it away from yourself. So
Yes. Mic drop.
fantastic. Go to virtuallyadventurous.com. Why? You owe it to yourself because it's a woman saying you can read my diary. Guys, how often does that happen? It doesn't. It doesn't. So I would say go there, check it out. You want to get yourself to actually go download her 50K swipe. Why? Because there's money to be made.
Yeah.
And if someone's going to give it to you, something she would normally charge for, hint, hint, go get it. Right? Take that chew on bite, and then you'll realize what the rest of the meal looks like. Any final words, Andrea, before we go out? Did I summarize incorrectly, or was I just spot on and amazing like always?
Oh, spot on, amazing like
And
always.
and badass. I'd like to say that, Dan.
Hey, that's
Yeah,
my word.
so-
So
yes,
lawsuit.
he thinks I have to pay him every time. Yes. So
The
fantastic.
jar. The jar.
Great. I want to thank you guys for taking time today. Everybody else listening, go out and sell something. Thanks, everybody.